quorum is present. We have two members on Zoom, a third one logging in right now. Senator Kupek is also here, and so we'll get started. First up, we have SF 1474, Senator Gustafson. No worries. Welcome, and you may begin your testimony whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Today we have an opportunity to take a very practical step to help more Minnesota students see a clear path to higher education. The direct admissions program simply tells students that many of them don't realize, which is that based on their academic record, they already qualify for admission to a Minnesota college or university. So this bipartisan bill ensures that every public high school participates in the program so that more students receive that message directly. It removes confusion, reduces barriers, and helps students and families make informed decisions about their future. At the end of the day, it's straightforward, it's student-focused, and it expands opportunity and strengthens Minnesota's workforce. It's a bipartisan bill. We've got two Republican authors, including one member from the Higher Ed Committee, so thank you to Senator Duckworth for joining me on this bill.
Thank you, Senator Gustafson. I understand you have the A4 amendment.
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the author's amendment keeps the timeline in place for all high schools to offer the direct admissions program by the start of the 2029 school year while giving school boards the flexibility to opt out if they choose.
Awesome. Senator Clark moves the A4 amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? With a 2-0 vote, the amendment passes. Senator Gustafson, I believe you have your first testifier is Matt Shaver.
Yes.
I apologize if I mispronounced that, but welcome. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Chair Fate, members of the committee, good afternoon. My name is Matt Shaver. I'm the Senior Policy Director at EdAllies. We're education advocates for policies that improve outcomes for kids. Thank you for your opportunity to testify in support of Senate File 1474 as amended. Thank you to Senator Gustafson for her leadership on expanding access to direct admissions. The goal of this bill is to urgently scale this program statewide by the end of the decade. Direct admissions is fundamentally about merit. A student's GPA automatically qualifies them for admission at up to 57 Minnesota 2- and 4-year public and private secondary institutions. Direct admissions is efficient, in that it brings that information directly to students and their families. And direct admissions is effective in that about one third of Minnesota high schools that participate, we see significant increases in FAFSA completion and in-state college enrollment. Direct admissions creates a direct pipeline to certificate programs, associate degrees, and 4-year degrees, and helps keep our homegrown talent in state. If you look at your handouts, you'll see just about every member of this committee has at least one participating high school in direct admissions, and just about every member on this committee has at least one high school that isn't participating yet, except for Senator Putnam, and may we all strive to be more like Senator Putnam. All of his high schools in his Senate district already participate in direct admissions. So fortunately, due to great student outcomes, ease of setting up, and support from OHE, direct admissions has expanded to many corners of the state the last few years. But if it maintains its current pace, it will be at least another 10 years before it reaches all high schools, leaving too many students out of the benefits and opportunities of participating. That's unacceptable, and Senator Gustafson's bill puts our state's foot on the gas pedal at a responsible speed to ensure that students will have an equal chance to participate by the end of the decade. The Office of Higher Education has said about direct admissions that it's rooted in the idea that all students are college material. It's a wonderful message and sets a high bar, but it's meaningless if all students don't actually have access to the program. So already tens of thousands of high school seniors have gotten this message, but it should not be up to zip code or chance that determines whether a student attends a school that offers this opportunity. Every child deserves the opportunity to attend a direct admissions high school. Senator Gustafson's bill guarantees it. Thank you, members, for the opportunity to testify today, and thank you all for your public service to our state.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next up, we have William Luther. Welcome. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Fate, members of this committee. My name is William Luther. I'm the Director of State Affairs for the undergrad student government at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I am a current junior in the College of Liberal Arts. Our organization represents the 30,000 undergrad students at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. I am testifying today in support of Senate File 1474 and expanding the direct admissions program across all Minnesota high schools. The direct admissions program has proved successful Talk to any prospective or current students from a high school who enrolled in this program, and they would tell you it demystified the college admissions process from one of exclusion to one of opportunity. The direct admissions program provided information and access to college admissions for many students. Although the University of Minnesota Twin Cities is not a participating campus, many students admitted to other system campuses and then transferred to our campus greatly enrich the classroom experience, offering new perspectives and creating a stronger student body at the University of Minnesota. Personally, my senior class in high school at White Bear Lake Area High School, where Senator Gustafson represents, many of my peers were intimidated by the college admissions process. They found relief in knowing that many colleges and universities would accept them after enrolling in the direct admissions program. That, along with programs like the North Star Promise, greatly changed the way my peers viewed higher education. It changed college admissions from an anxious and uncertain process to a transparent and hopeful journey. What I saw in my high school was transformative. Senate File 1474 brings that transformative program to the rest of our state. Thank you, Senator Gustafson, and thank you to this committee. I urge a green vote on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next up, we have Josiah Schaffhausen. Welcome. Please state your name, and you may begin your testimony.
Chair Fate and members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Josiah Schaffhausen, and I'm a senior at Egan High School. I'm here today in support of Senate File 1474, which would expand Minnesota's direct admissions program to high schools across the state. As a senior, the college admissions process is one of the most stressful and discouraging moments of a senior's life. I spent countless hours juggling the FAFSA, countless application portals, and multiple fast-approaching deadlines. For many seniors, it often feels like we're forced to plan the next 20 years of our life in just a few months. My high school opted into the direct admissions program, and I received an email detailing all the colleges that would accept me based on my GPA and test scores. Receiving that letter provided reassurance to me and many of my peers that the doors to higher education were already open. For students who have never seen themselves as college material, whether it's the cost, the process, or simply that they've never been told they were good enough, a single email from direct admissions can change the entire story that students believe about themselves and remind them that they have a place in higher education. The benefits of this program aren't just anecdotal, however. Data from the Minnesota Office of Higher Education shows that schools who enrolled in direct admissions programs have seen significant increases in college-going behaviors. FAFSA completion increased by 26%, and the percentage of students enrolling in college after graduation increased from 28% to 46%. The program has also been impactful for students from historically underrepresented backgrounds. Participants include students from diverse racial and socioeconomic backgrounds, with 40% eligible for free or reduced price lunch. Across these groups, students participating in direct admissions were more likely to compete the FAFSA and enroll in Minnesota colleges compared to similar students at schools that did not participate. But right now, not every student in Minnesota has that same opportunity that I did. Currently, whether students are enrolled depends entirely on whether or not they're in the right zip code or go to the right school. Senate File 1474 would fix that, making direct admissions a requirement for Minnesota high schools to ensure that every student, regardless of their background or the school they attend, receives the same reassurance and support that I did. While there's still more work to be done to make college accessible to all students, expanding direct admissions is an important step towards a more equitable and accessible higher education system in our state. I urge you to support Senate File 1474 because every student in Minnesota deserves to know the doors are open. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Are there any questions from members? Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair Fate, and thank you, Senator Gustafson, for this bill. I just want to emphasize what Josiah said. My kids go to Edison High School, and anything that we're doing that helps remove barriers to access to college, to get them over that hump, gives the confidence as Josiah shared. And this does that. I've heard from my kids' friends and my kids that this helped them on the path. They're now making decisions here in March of where they're headed, and it was an important step that they were already in these places that they could go, I could go here, and now I can reach to here as well. So this program is great, and I think we should give all Minnesota students the opportunity to do that, so especially so they stay going to college here in Minnesota.
Thank you so much, Senator Clark. Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Gustafson, for bringing this bill. I have to say that I was so amazed and impressed by your testimony, since I wasn't here to hear it. But I do want to say that I do believe we've discussed this issue in the past. I think last year we talked about it a fair amount, and one of the critiques and concerns that we heard was that it was going to provide some sort of financial burden on the schools throughout the state. And I went and talked to the superintendent of St. Cloud Public Schools, who, as you know, is incredibly competent and very cute. And the result was quite clear. It does not cost anything extra to do this good. For school districts that are well organized and budget smartly, this is not in any way a fiscal burden. So I want to thank you again for bringing this bill to us.
Senator Gustafson.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. You missed the part two where you are the only district that all of your schools participate in this. So St. Cloud area is doing well in this regard. So thank you very much.
Senator Gustafson, next time I'll be on time if I know you're praising St. Cloud.
Thank you. Any other members would like to speak? Seeing none, Senator Gustafson, any closing remarks?
Just real quick, I will just say as a high school teacher at Centennial, we had this program and, of course, we encourage students to consider all options after high school, whether that be the military, the workforce, the trades. But a lot of students don't think about college because they don't think that they would qualify or see themselves in a university. And this program shows that they may already be accepted and qualified for existing Minnesota State colleges and universities. So if nothing else, it's a confidence boost, and I think our students could use that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Gustafson. And with that, Senator Duckworth moves that SF 1474 as amended be recommended to pass and re-referred to the Committee on Finance. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Aye. The bill is on its way. Thank you, Senator. Next up, we have SF 3707, Senator Mann. Welcome, Senator Dr. Mann. You may begin your testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senate File 3707 was crafted in response to what recently occurred at the U of M Medical School. I will let them tell the story, but what this bill does is to request that the Board of Regents prohibit any for-profit entities from managing or controlling curriculum at the medical school. In medical school, we learn about the human body, the human experience, how it relates to health and to pathology. We learn what to look for in disease, how to treat disease, and how that impacts every single one of our patients on an individual basis. These lessons have nothing to do with how much money we can make, we can best extract money from the system, or what organizations we can partner with to save money. And the education of our future healers should not be tainted by any organizations seeking to make profits in the healthcare space. With that, Mr. Chair, I'd pass it on to the testifiers.
Thank you so much, Senator. Our first testifier is Dr. Sarah Hartfeld. And we can also welcome Dr. Allison Leopold to the front also, as well. So welcome, please state your name for the record and you may begin.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee for this opportunity to speak on behalf of SF 3707 today. My name is Dr. Sarah Hartfeld. I'm a practicing primary care physician in the Twin Cities and an adjunct professor teaching clinical skills to medical students at the university. But my views today expressed are my own and not representing those of my employers. The event that Senator Mann referenced that prompted this bill was the formation of what they called a collaboration between United Health Group and the medical school, and that was announced in September 2024. When I saw the university's press release announcing this so-called partnership with UHG and the initial course that they were offering for medical students, my first response was to be utterly astonished. It seemed so far removed from those fundamental ideas about medical education, and it actually made me question my employment at the university. Then when I heard from students about the first iteration of this course, I was even more surprised to learn that it was taking place on the UHG campus and with a significant portion of the materials coming unedited from the executives involved. So I was thrilled to support the students when a group of them decided to challenge the course's legitimacy and demand its cancellation, along with the underlying financial support that was coming from UHG. When I contacted my physician friends and colleagues, the vast majority of whom were trained in some form at the university, whether it was the medical school, residency, or in many cases both, they were utterly astonished. As one of my colleagues said, quote, "This is the medical school that taught me I cannot accept a pen from a pharmaceutical rep because it might impact how I treat my patients. How could this possibly be okay with them?" The response from the students and the physician community was swift and strong, and through a petition and then a packed listening session on a snowy night in December. The most striking question of the evening, there was the students that I heard say, quote, "How can you assure me that 10 years from now, I won't be taking my University of Minnesota Medical School diploma off my wall so that my colleagues don't think I went to a corporate-funded medical school that cannot be taken seriously?" I agree with that student that we cannot risk the integrity of our medical school in the face of corporate influence. We certainly should be equipping our students with an understanding of how the financing system works, and that should be part of their education. But handing any portion of that over to a corporate entity is not worth it. When we as doctors give a talk or make a presentation to our colleagues, two things are critical as part of that. You cite your sources for your data, and number two, you provide upfront your disclaimers and your conflicts of interest. This bill asks the medical school to live up to those exact principles that it has been teaching its students and to report back to this body periodically on those efforts, and we should expect no less. I ask you to support this bill.
Thank you, Dr. Hartfeld. Dr. Leopold, please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. Thank you for having us speak in support of SF 3707. My name is Dr. Allison Leopold. I'm an emergency medicine resident. I'm a recent graduate of the University of Minnesota Medical School, and I was one of the 9 students enrolled in the first class that United Health Group taught at our medical school. These are my views and not representative of my university. To start, I'll just briefly describe the class. This 4-week class was offered for the first time in the fall of 2024. It was first introduced by United as a course taught entirely by their employees, but the university negotiated a 50-50 deal. So United would teach half the course content, and the university would teach the other half. When I saw the listing in the course catalog, I was immediately skeptical of this collaboration, given United's long history of fraud, abuse, and denials of care. I then made the decision to enroll in the class to just better understand the situation. What I found was alarming, though in some ways not surprising. The parts of the class that were taught by United Health Group employees were riddled with corporate newspeak, vague or even misleading information, and in some cases blatantly false information that had to be corrected by students who were rapidly Googling in real time as our only means of fact-checking the course. To be clear, there's no amount of rapid-fire Googling that could have kept up with the fire hose of corporate propaganda. Students were a mix of skeptical and genuinely curious, and when we asked about United's well-documented history of fraud and abuse, we were told by United employees that these topics could not be discussed, a fundamentally unacademic answer. Now, we had a particularly engaged class, and I worried that in future iterations of the class, United's content would go unchallenged and would just be accepted as truth. I wrote an op-ed about this concern in the Minnesota Reformer, and fortunately, U of M medical students showed impressive organization and clarity on the issue, and they worked collectively to shut the course down. But as part of the process of canceling this course, the university held a listening session with about 100 students in attendance. And at this session, the Dean of Undergraduate Medical Education told the students that the university actually has a conflicts of interest office that reviewed the course and okayed it. And this is perhaps the most troubling part for me of this entire saga. The university has a process to review conflicts of interest in their curriculum, and this course passed it. Clearly, a more stringent review process is required, and without one, I'm concerned that more courses like this could easily arise in the future. That is, without your intervention. If approved, this bill would help prevent future conflicts of interest in our medical school curriculum. It would prevent corporations from taking control of our medical education, and it would help maintain the academic integrity of our flagship university here in Minnesota. I am in full support of this bill, and I'm grateful to Senator Mann for bringing it forward, and thank you to the committee for your time and attention.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Are there any questions for our first 2 testifiers? Seeing none, thank you both so much. Our final testifier is Carson Noer. Welcome. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin your testimony.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and committee members. Thank you again for having us in to speak today in support of SF 3707. My name is Carson Knoer. I am a second-year medical student at the University of Minnesota Medical School, and I speak today on behalf of myself and on behalf of over 400 medical students, Minnesota faculty, and local physicians who came together to raise concerns with for-profit influence in medical education. This concern was escalated due to the aforementioned UHG-affiliated medical school course. So my attention was drawn to the course late last year when a publication in the New England Journal of Medicine Catalyst was released and shared with the medical student body. The publication lauded the course as an opportunity for university-industry partnership, and the same publication made very clear that one of the goals of this course was to empower students to, and this is a quote, advocate for the medical financing system that United Health Group was teaching as physicians in their future training programs. I believe that it's important for physicians to receive education in healthcare financing. However, the financial investment of a for-profit company raised concerns about conflict of interest. I believe that there lies an inherent contradiction of a corporate health insurance company teaching future healthcare professionals about a payment model from which it stands to profit. In December of 2025, a collection of medical students circulated a petition which called for the removal of this growing corporate influence. The petition called for the immediate termination of the course and its replacement with an objective health systems science course that was independent of vested private interests. And I want to highlight who actually signed this petition in just a few short weeks. The petition was signed by over 400 community members who personally engage in medical education. Nearly 70% of the first-year medical school class signed this petition. Nearly 50% of the second-year medical school class signed the petition, with great support from third and fourth-year students, most of whom aren't currently rotating on campus. Over 55 local practicing physicians also signed on to support the letter, including many recent graduates and active faculty. And we received the support of many students and faculty in dentistry, nursing, pharmacy, and public health. And then a community listening session was held, which 100 students braved a snowstorm to voice their concerns. The response was overwhelming. Our community said, no, we don't want for-profit entities to have influence over our medical education. More than 70% of physicians practicing in the state of Minnesota were trained at the University of Minnesota Medical School. I believe that the state of Minnesota has a responsibility to uphold the health of members of its community, and I also believe it's the responsibility of the state of Minnesota to support the development of high-quality physicians. As Dr. Leopold shared, the university has a process to review conflicts of interest, and this course still passed. So I implore you to pass Bill SF 3707. Please take this opportunity to limit undue for-profit influence in the training of future generations of physicians who will serve our state. Thank you so much to Senator Mann for preparing this bill on the behalf of my community, and thank you to the committee for your time and for your attention.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Are there any questions for the testifier or Senator Mann? Senator Kupek.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I'm sorry I missed the opportunity to say 3 doctors sit at a testifier table, which just sounds like the setup for a joke, but I'm sorry I didn't say that. But no, I think this is really important. First of all, academic freedom is really important, freedom for students to learn. I can think back when I was in college, I had a professor who was on the payroll of coal industry and gave a whole lecture about clean coal technology, which, spoiler alert, is a myth. But to his credit, the next class, he then let one of the other professors come in and completely argue against the lecture that he had just given, realizing that, yes, I am taking money from this corporation and I do research for them and I believe in this, but there are alternate views. And that is really the beauty of academia, is when you can come in and have that. And particularly in medical school, we don't necessarily want to learn a corporate way. We want to learn what is the best way. And sure, they may have something to present one day. That's absolutely fine. But I think a broad spectrum is what we really need. So really, thanks for bringing this to our attention. Thanks for carrying this bill. I'm a solid yes.
Thank you so much, Senator Kupek. Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair Fate, and this may be a question for Dr. Leopold. I'm wondering about the conflict of interest process that the U went through and declarations that were shared. Can you remind me, when you were signing up for class, were you aware that this was a jointly sponsored or designed course, or how was that laid out in the course catalog?
Dr. Leopold.
Sure, yes, thanks for the question. I was very aware it was jointly sponsored because we were going to the United Healthcare headquarters to learn from them. And so, in fact, Sir Andrew Whitty, the former CEO of United Healthcare, gave a lecture to us. So I was very aware that there was corporate-sponsored content, but it was unclear what was true, frankly, especially as we were uncovering more and more lies.
Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you. And I think this, perhaps is to Senator Dr. Mann. Transparency is clear in making sure that conflicts of interest are known, and well, sunshine is often a great disinfectant. Sometimes it just shines light on terrible, terrible things. So in this, is the goal just to make sure, or is it to prohibit? Is it to let us know that this type of arrangement occurs?
Senator Mann.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Senator. So we cannot tell a university what they can and cannot teach. So we want to make sure that their governing body takes a look at the curriculum, especially for the medical students and the medical school, and to ideally prohibit these things from happening in the future.
Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Senator Dr. Mann. I'm enjoying having the three-word piece in there. I like this concept. I just want to make sure that we are maintaining academic freedom in all of this, that the medical school maintains that. I think you're maintaining that within this, and with our request language as we are apt to do. So that's the balancing point that I want to make sure we have in here. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Clark. Are there any other members? Senator Mann, would like to have last words.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to say thanks to the U for listening to the students and changing the curriculum, and also for the students for acting with such integrity and the very ethical way that you upheld and protected our medical education. Thank you for that. And, Mr. Chair, between private equity's expansion into the healthcare space and now insurance and gigantic corporations that are for-profit coming in, trying to sneak their way into our medical education system, this profits over patients' healthcare system that we have built and continue to fuel is really completely out of control. And it's costing patient lives. And so third-party profiteering certainly has no place in our medical education, and we want to make sure of this going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Mann. And with that, SF 3707 is laid over.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, we'll have the informational hearing piece on the impact of Operation Metro Surge on Minnesota's colleges and universities. First up, we have President Paula Pribenow from Augsburg University. Thank you so much for joining us, President. Welcome. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin your testimony.
Thank you, Chair Fate and members of the committee. I'm Paul Pribenow, the president of Augsburg University in Minneapolis, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to share testimony about Augsburg's experience during the recent and ongoing federal immigration surge. I will just comment that we have become, for better or worse, an object lesson for both what happens and how to respond to it for colleagues, college leaders, university leaders from across the country. It's not necessarily a role I like to play, but I am happy to tell this story because I think it's important for us to hear. Over the past 15 years, Augsburg has become one of the most ethnically diverse institutions of higher education in the country. More than half of our undergraduate students are first generations, and many hail from the immigrant communities most impacted by Operation Metro Surge. In addition, I think, as you know, Augsburg's campus in the heart of Minneapolis is seamlessly integrated with the surrounding Cedar Riverside neighborhood. The city acts as an extension of the classroom, offering our students extraordinary opportunities for learning and service. But as a result, what happens in the city also reaches into the heart of Augsburg. In recent months, many of our students have been stopped and interrogated by ICE agents, including while driving to or from campus and while walking between campus buildings. Some have had a family member who was directly impacted. Some are now caring for younger siblings after a parent was detained, or they are working to support their families. Many of our Somali American neighbors in Cedar Riverside, including those with citizenship or legal status, have been afraid to go out in public, fearing harassment, detainment, or worse. Most chillingly, at least 3 Augsburg students that we know of have been detained by ICE this academic year. All 3 students were sent to Texas following their detentions. I'm grateful to report that in all 3 cases, the students were ultimately released and able to return home to Minnesota, but we know the effects of the trauma and the interruption in their education will linger. As you may be aware, one of these detentions took place in an Augsburg-owned parking lot on campus on Saturday, December 6th. That day, a group of armed, masked ICE agents targeted an undergraduate student and confronted members of our community directly outside a university residence hall. Augsburg security personnel, who are unarmed, informed the agents that university policy required verification of a judicial warrant by a trained administrator and requested that they wait for the on-call administrator to arrive. This policy is designed to ensure that Augsburg follows the law. In the interim, approximately a dozen additional armed agents in multiple vehicles arrived. Without producing a warrant, the agents aimed weapons at witnesses that included students and staff, while many more students watched from their residence. The Augsburg community was deeply shaken by this event and its aftermath. As an urban university, we are accustomed to partnering closely on public safety issues with local law enforcement, including the Minneapolis Police Department. What happened on December 5th was far outside the scope of our normal experience. Following national media attention and public statements by the Department of Homeland Security and ICE, Augsburg received 2 bomb threats in mid-December during the final weeks of the fall term, and a similar threat followed in mid-January. Spring semester began on January 20th, 2 weeks after the killing of Renee Macklin Good and 4 days before the shooting of Alex Preddy. After Good was killed, we immediately pivoted to increase virtual options for our students, faculty, and staff who were unable or unwilling to come to campus because of safety concerns. We added several hundred seats in online courses through a combination of new sections, raising caps on existing courses, and moving a small number of classes to Zoom. The number of online course enrollments increased significantly for the spring semester. Since early January, our academic advisors have held hundreds of one-on-one meetings with students to curate individual course loads in response to ICE concerns. In these fraught times, our goal has been to prioritize in-person learning as much as possible while allowing individuals flexibility for personal circumstances. This work is ongoing, along with broader efforts to support students, faculty, and staff following such an intense period of stress and anxiety. In January, for example, more than 350 students had active cases with Augsburg's student care team, a cross-functional group that coordinates support resources on campus, more than triple the number of cases in November. Augsburg Basics Housing, a program to address emergency housing needs among our students, saw a large spike in applications driven by increased ICE activity in Minneapolis and particularly in the Cedar Riverside neighborhood. Twice as many students are currently using the program compared to the same time last year. A number of students have had no choice but to elect a temporary leave of absence for the spring semester. Currently, twice as many students are on leave compared to last year. We have sought to respond to the crisis in ways that center our mission to educate students for lives of service and engaged citizenship. As with any community, Augsburg students, faculty, and staff have diverse viewpoints. but we share a belief in the historic values that have defined higher education's role in our democracy for 250 years: human dignity, academic freedom, social mobility, and the rule of law. I commend our students for the way they have taken these lessons to heart. In a difficult time, they have shown up to peacefully exercise their First Amendment rights, to deliver food to elders in our neighborhood, to educate their peers on lawful conduct, and despite everything, to continue pursuing their studies. Ultimately, we believe, as I think most of my colleagues in higher education believe, that education is resistance, not to any political party or administration, but to the forces of dehumanization, violence, and injustice wherever they are deployed. And I'm so proud of the Augsburg community for the way that they've lived out these values. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Pribenow. Is there any questions for President Pribenow before we move on? I have a couple questions quickly, Mr. President. You indicated that multiple students were stopped on the way to class, maybe driving. In most cases, how do students report that? And if they report it to someone, how does it move up the chain, I guess?
Yeah. These students reported this to us directly. These were situations where the ICE agents were actually not on our private property. They were on the streets, and they targeted a student coming out, for example, out of an athletic facility just based on the color of their skin. And we had those multiple reports. And so we received those reports. We didn't report them to any broader, any broader kind of network. So.
And for the 3 students that you said were detained by ICE, were they detained on campus or off campus?
Yeah, the one student was detained on campus in our Augsburg parking lot. The other 2 were detained off campus.
And do you know if there were judicial warrants presented in those cases, or were there not?
I don't believe so, but I don't know that for a fact.
Thank you. And I believe we have a question from Vice Chair Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and President Pribenow. This is more of a comment than a question, and that I want to thank you for the argument that you made today for 2 reasons. One, because of your articulation of higher education to democracy, to citizenship, and to the health of our country. But secondly, for the concrete details that you've presented, for actual real things that happen to actual real people. And last, I want to express my disappointment that so many members of the committee are not here to hear both of those arguments. So thank you, President Pribenow, for being here.
Thank you, Senator Putnam. Are there any other last questions from members? Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, President Pribenow. Providing a stark reminder of the jewel that Augsburg is, of making sure you're standing in and with community and being there with students, and as Senator Putnam said, standing for democracy. So thank you. Thank you for crystallizing this, and thank you for speaking boldly and loudly, as is the Augsburg tradition. Continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President, for testifying and for continuing to protect our students.
Thank you so much.
So thank you. Next up, we have Mark Grant. Welcome back. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Chair Fatah. And committee members, thank you again for the opportunity to talk about this issue. For the record, my name is Mark Grant, and I'm here representing the Minnesota State College faculty. Again, we're the faculty that represent, or we're the faculty on all 2-year technical and community college faculty, or campuses across the state. My apologies. As oftentimes is the case, providing a single faculty perspective on issues like this can prove challenging, as those perspectives can be as varied as the communities we serve on 47 campuses in nearly every corner of the state. Having said that, I do want to share a few points from the faculty of Minnesota State College faculty. Number one, as open access, mainly non-residential campuses, the conditions that our students exist in inevitably comes the environment that we teach in. It's unavoidable. So I want to start by saying that Minnesota State College faculty stands in support of our students. If you're looking for the impact on our campuses and our classrooms, I can't think of anyone's perspective more important than the students that we serve. I know you're going to be hearing from them today, and I encourage you all to listen very closely to what they have to say. Number two, While we have not had an incident involving ICE on one of our campuses yet, we view that as a function of pure luck rather than anything structural within the Minnesota State system or our campuses. Still, our faculty are bracing for such an incident and the inevitable fallout for the students, staff, and faculty that such an encounter brings. With this in mind, we do believe that action to prevent the potential for future operations on our campuses, similar to the ones that we have seen in our communities, is absolutely called for. 3, we see and we know the impact on our coworkers and students who have been adversely affected by ICE presence, regardless of where this impact has occurred. We have encouraged faculty to give space and grace to students to the extent that faculty have the authority to do so via academic freedom. We have offered to enter into an agreement with Minnesota State system to codify and clarify the extent of those rights. In short, we want individual faculty to be able to meet the individual needs of our students where they are and provide them with the support that they so deserve. We care deeply about our students and their well-being, and we also care deeply about our coworkers who are trying to show up for students while dealing with the trauma they've experienced themselves. And last, while the immediate impact of ICE's actions on individuals is somewhat evident, we believe that we have yet to fully realize the long-term impact on our institutions. We know enrollment has been impacted this spring, and we fully anticipate that impact to extend into the next school year, especially if there's a perception that our campuses are fundamentally unsafe spaces. Financial support for our institutions and recognition of this work being done under impossible circumstances by system employees will both be needed and appreciated. MSCF recognizes that there's nothing easy about any of this. We know that you have a difficult task in balancing a number of potential priorities. Our mission today is to let you know how we're impacted, ask for your support, and trust that you will do right by the students and employees of Minnesota State. Thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Thank you so much, Mr. Grant. Are there any other questions from members? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Next up, we have Suleiman Aiden, who's the Executive Director from CARE Minnesota. Welcome. Please introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
All right. Thank you so much, Chair Fateh and Vice Chair Putnam and Ranking Duckworth and the collective members of the Higher Education Committee. My name is Suleiman Aden, S-U-L-E-I-M-A-N, last name Aden, A-D-A-N, and I'm the Deputy Executive Director at the Council on American Islamic Relations here in Minnesota. But I also want to share why this issue is important to me. I'm a proud alumnus of the University of Minnesota. I'm also currently a college-based research fellow and also a divinity student. I've taught in Minnesota great schools, and I'm a product of Minnesota's public education and charter schools. From Head Start to college, this great state has invested in me from the very beginning. So when we talk about what is happening on college campuses here in Minnesota, I'm speaking as someone who's come through this system and who still works with students inside of it. Over the past several months, CARE Minnesota has received several calls from international students and their families, parents calling from overseas asking if their children are safe here, students asking whether they should go to class or whether they should stay inside their apartments, and whether continuing their education in Minnesota is really worth the risk or if they should go back to their home countries. And we know that why they're asking these questions. This week, while myself and a group of delegates that traveled from Minneapolis to Selma, we got a call from about a student who was a student at St. Cloud State University. He's from Kenya. He was taken by ICE over a month ago, and no one knew where he was until another student was in El Paso, Texas, came back to Minnesota and told us about him. And the only thing that we know about him is the school that he stayed at, his family, and that he's an international student. Earlier this year, a University of Minnesota graduate student, Dukan Gordayan, was detained by immigration authorities outside his residence and held in immigration custody for nearly 2 months before federal judges ordered his release. Students across Minnesota's colleges watched this happen. In cases like these, travel quickly across campuses. Students ask each other questions and fear naturally spreads. We've heard from students who've told us they stopped going to class entirely. Others said that they've stayed inside their apartments because they were afraid of encountering immigrant enforcement. And this fear did not stay contained to campuses. It quickly spilled into the surrounding communities, like the president of Augsburg University explained, into the highest density neighborhood of immigrants in our great state. And also want to acknowledge the moment that we are in here today. We are meeting only days removed from the firing of former Homeland Security Secretary Christine Ohm after widespread criticism of her handling of immigration enforcement. Members of this committee, Minnesota universities recruit students from across the globe because it strengthens our Minnesota-based education system. These young people are part of our pride in our future, and they are future doctors, researchers, teachers, engineers, entrepreneurs, and community leaders that make our already great state even greater. They should be focused on learning and contributing to our state instead of being afraid of going to class. Thank you for your opportunity to speak with you today.
Thank you so much for your testimony, Mr. Adden. Are there any questions for Mr. Adden? Senator Kupek.
Sure, and not so much a question, but just a comment. First of all, thank you for sharing your story, and there's a dual narrative going on here, and when we hear, I get messages from constituents who are like, why aren't you out? ICE is doing a great job. They're picking up all of these people who've committed all these crimes. And then it is all we have heard since we have been back in session are story after story like this of people that were picked up, that were taken, that have done nothing wrong. And it is just, because when you relay a story, they're like, well, that's just a one-off. But it is not a one-off. It is just in every committee we've sat in. We've been in Health and Human Services and we've heard these stories. Higher Ed, we've heard these stories. It is just constant. And there's the problem, this is a much larger problem in our country. We're getting our news from siloed places and not hearing the full story. And that's beyond what this committee can do, but it is, it's just super frustrating and it's super saddening to have to sit and listen to these stories day after day. And I'm glad everybody's coming to tell them because, the more we tell it, maybe somebody will listen to it. And that sometimes I think that includes some of our colleagues who just seem completely blind to what has happened in this state and all across the state, not just here in the Twin Cities, all across the state. And so thank you for coming and sharing. I'm sorry for, all of the terrible things that have happened to people that were just trying to live their lives. So sorry, I just needed a soapbox for a second.
No, thank you. I share your heartbreak and frustration, Senator Kupek. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Aden, for your testimony. Next up, we have Negwa Haddad. Welcome. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, committee. My name is Negwa Haddad, and I'm a minority Coptic Christian from Alexandria, Egypt, and I came to the States about 30 years ago, made the Minnesota home. When I became a citizen, I forsake my own, my birth country to become a citizen here, and I'm sorry, I swear to protect the Constitution, but the Constitution is not protecting me. I have seen the past few months what I have watched growing up in Egypt, and not in a million years. I would have thought this will happen here. I also voted Republican for so many years, and I just don't see the Republican colleagues here. Just hear my story. I was followed by ICE. The first week in January, I work at Metro State University. I'm also a graduate student at Metro State University. And if you know the body of Metro State University is most of them coming from poverty, most of them coming to get education, to rise above poverty. And some of them are immigrants, so they are really, it's exhausting to be poor. It's exhausting to just continue to fight the system. So we see that education is the only way that we can rise above that. But yet, even in school, we're asked to be silent. And I was followed by ICE at school. I'm so sorry. The minute I got to school, I just totally could not stand up. I stood in the parking ramp asking my coworker to just watch over me. It felt like I'm haunted like an animal, not like a human being. The skin, my skin, the color of my skin, I cannot erase it. I cannot change it. And I'm being racial profiled by ICE. I was stuck at home for 7 weeks with my daughter who got sick, and I couldn't even take her to the hospital. She wouldn't even go. A neighbor was putting her garbage out, was taken. I take my garbage the first few weeks with my passport in my hand, but then I couldn't go out anymore because my neighbor will put flyer under my door that ICE is out and they are picking people up. I just don't understand. In 2026 here in the US, I came from a persecuted country, dictatorship, and I'm seeing that happening now, and we cannot allow it. This is my first time to come here. This is my first time to testify, and I'm so sorry I'm all over the place, but I want you to see my humanity and my heart. I have 4 girls who biracial, who are also miserable here and trying to just rise above the system. And for me, I see education is the only way for us as a minority to rise up and take place and to also voice our opinion for our own problems here. I'm just gonna read this. For me, education is a powerful tool for empowerment action, a path to confront the system, pushing boundaries, and being creative in addressing social issues. I believe that education is the only tool for breaking the chain of oppression and creating positive change in the world. And I'm just like, please do something, because this cannot continue to happen. I am a human being like anybody else. And thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much for your testimony, Ms. Haddad, and I'm really sorry for everything that you've been experiencing and going through as someone who is the son of immigrants, someone who is married to an immigrant, as someone who represents one of the most diverse districts in the state. I've seen the horror and the terror that we've seen from our federal government, and I'm really sorry for everything you've experienced. And I know that, and please know that we know that the federal government is getting it wrong, but here in the state, we're doing our best to get it right, and we have really strong allies like Senator Clark, like Senator Kunish, like others that are carrying legislation to make sure that folks like you are protected in our schools, whether it's college campuses or elementary school, middle school, high school, that they're protected in our hospitals and in our streets, and that folks are not hunted down as you stated. So thank you for showing the courage for coming out today. We're all grateful for you being here. With that, I'll go to Senator Putnam first, and then Senator Wilvervain next.
Ms. Haddad, thank you for being here and for your candor and your courage. I want to refer briefly to something that Senator Kupek just said a couple moments ago. Because what he was talking about is the power of evidence and personal testimony. And we hear, as Senator Kupek mentioned, people say, oh, it's just one-off. Happened here, happened there. It's not systemic, it doesn't happen frequently. I don't give a good goddamn if it's all over the place or not. Your story is profound in and of itself. That happens to one American in our country, it's bad enough. And we know that it is more comprehensive. It's not just you. We know more people are suffering the same thing. But don't ever apologize for being better than the people who would persecute you. You are here participating in America as a better American than anyone who would intimidate you. You understand the Constitution better than the ICE agents who trampled it to intimidate you. So please, just me talking to you, feel some pride. Be proud of what you've done. Be proud of being here. Be proud of who you are, because we all are.
I'm so grateful to be here, and that you can hear my story, because I think that's what's missing is for, I don't know, the Republican, I don't know what they are hearing from. I voted Republican for so many years, yet I am being treated less than human, and it's unacceptable.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Haddad. Senator Umar.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you so much for being here. And I just want to start by making sure you know that our state is better off because you're here. Our country's better off because you're here. Metro State, how lucky they are to have you there as an educator and a graduate student. You know, I also come from a family of immigrants, and you know, hearing you share your story, and don't apologize for being emotional. This is heartbreaking. And, you know, I get emotional thinking about how afraid I was for my family and for my friends and for my community. And you had every right to have that fear. What you experienced was unacceptable. I'm so sorry. It's heartbreaking and it's dehumanizing.
Yeah,
and you should have never experienced that. And it's just another example of many folks who are U.S. citizens, who are here legally, who were still targeted, who were still captured by ICE. There was a man in St. Paul who was taken out in his underwear by ICE, drove around, and then just dropped off on the street, right? That's just one example. But there were many, many instances of that. So when you talk about the fear that you have, people say, oh, you feel that way because of your status or because of your citizenship status, right? Like, we know those folks were still targeted. We've seen it, and we know your experience, right? And thank you for speaking truth to power and coming here and telling us that. So I can't thank you enough. I know how hard it is, and it can feel intimidating to come up here and be so vulnerable and share, you know, such a painful thing that happened to you. But I want you to know how grateful we are for you to be that brave and to share that with us, and that, you know, we're just regular people too, and we share in your pain and have felt, right, that fear for our community. But you are really, really making a difference by being here today, and you should be so proud of yourself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have 4 biracial girls who highly educated, yet they are feeling the same way, stuck with me at home and not feeling safe in your own home. I felt that in Egypt. I grew up like that, and reliving the trauma again. Many immigrants who are here are coming from a torn country, and reliving the trauma again. I can't concentrate on my study. I'm graduating in May, and I'm trying to pull myself up, but it's exhausting to be outsider here. It's really exhausting, to be honest with you. And I came here because I want be able to see and hear my story, because I am a Coptic Christian. I voted Republican, all of that. Yet I don't see the law on my side. I don't see any protection. I was just being haunted.
I'm sorry, Ms. Haddad, and we're going to do our best to get it right at the state level, and you're much stronger and courageous than the cowards that have been terrorizing our community, so know that, please.
Thank you so much.
Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for your story. As Senator Putnam shared, this is a story that is yours and yours alone, but it is not an uncommon story. My neighbor Joe shared, he didn't leave the house for 6 weeks. He said, I grew up in a third world country. I was never scared here. Scared there. I'm more scared here now
True.
than I ever was where I spent the first 18 years of my life.
That's true.
Metro State needs to be a safe place, needs to be an essential space, needs to be a place that you are comfortable going to. America needs to be that space, and Minnesota needs to live up to the promise that we've made to you and the promise you've made to us. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for being loud, being proud,
Thank you so much.
and being real, because we all need to be real and recognize that this is wrong.
Thank you so
And you're
much.
standing firm in what is right. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Senator Clark. And thank you, Ms. Haddad, for coming and testifying and sharing. Oh, sorry, Senator Kupek.
I just want to say thank you for sharing. I won't say anything else. I will just say thank you all my colleagues who said everything much better than I did. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you
you,
so
Ms.
much
Haddad.
for listening to me.
Appreciate you coming out here. Thank you. Our final testifier is Hans Hicks. Welcome. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Sure. Thank you, Chair Fateh and Vice Chair. My name is Hans Hicks, and I'm the Legislative Fellow for Students United, the voice for all four-year students enrolled in the Minnesota State University system. I'm here to talk today about the impact of increased federal immigration enforcement on campus across the Minnesota State system. ICE has created an environment of paranoia and fear on campuses across the state that changes student behavior on and off the college campus. I am at Metro State, and I know foot traffic and utilization of student services is down, including the food shelves and the Student Parent Center. In the Metro, American citizens feel unease going to and from campus if they believe they belong to a potentially targeted demographic. I know some students who rely on public transit who now avoid critical transfer points as ICE abductions have occurred at those locations, increasing their commute and logistic time to get to class. At Minnesota State University Mankato on Thursday, January 15th, reports of plainclothes agents going from campus housing complex to housing complex, demanding papers and knocking on doors and harassing both students and community members. One student was detained in their apartment by ICE in spring of 2025 in front of parents, and then later released only to be detained in front of their parents once again in early 2026. While immigration enforcement actions directly target certain populations, the broader impact spreads throughout the entire campus environment. Faculty have reported enforcement activity has fundamentally altered classroom dynamics and the ability of students to focus on learning. In this way, policies that allow enforcement activity on or near campus reduce educational access to both immigrant and domestic students. These actions are now also affecting enrollment at Minneapolis College. According to the Star Tribune, new student enrollment dropped 16% this semester after 3 consecutive years of enrollment growth. At the Mankato State Office for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management, they've reported to me that international student enrollment has declined significantly due to the overall climate, and Operation Metro Surge is in part to blame for this climate. International student enrollment is an important revenue stream for all Minnesota State schools, and without it, significant budget cuts would limit opportunities for international students and all students. Thanks for your time.
Thank you so much for your testimony. And then with the conclusion of the informational piece, we're going to segue into SF 3570 from Senator Clark, which is the post-secondary campus access by federal immigration officers limitation provision. Welcome, Senator Clark. After the testimony, we are a little tight on time, so I'll ask people to keep their remarks to maybe 2 minutes so that we can have time for questions as well. But Senator Clark, you may begin.
Thank you, Chair Fateh, and thank you, committee. I bring you Senate File 3570, which clarifies that post-secondary access by federal immigrations officer, the provisions of that is bound by the need for a judicial order or judicially issued subpoena. Chair, if you'd like, I can move Senate File 3570. I do have an author's amendment, the A3.
Awesome. Senator Clark moves the A3 amendment. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? The amendment is adopted. Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair. So the A3 was published previously online and is available online as well as in the back. As a reminder, the path for this bill is first here in higher ed and then on to the Judiciary Committee. I'll just walk through the bill in brief, but this is the main message. Let's give ICE guardrails and a legal framework to uphold and stay within the bounds of the United States Constitution. First section, this is really judiciary's jurisdiction. Basically, it says that judicial warrants, orders, and subpoenas are needed to be on a campus. That is, there's no loitering in parking lots, no hoping to grab someone, no hanging out at nearby bus stops and tackling folks waiting there. A warrant is needed. Section 2, this is again the judiciary's jurisdiction. University and agencies cannot claim that citizen data is public info that can be shared in a directory. Section 3, this is pages 5 and 6 of the bill and much of the A3. This is our jurisdiction. It includes the applicability section. The A3 added the Board of Regents are requested language. Subdivision 2 provides definitions. The A3 provided a few definitions and specifies that this is focused on federal immigration officials. This ensures that federal officials who are involved in the Student Exchange and Visitor Program, SEPV, which ensures that student non-immigrant visa programs can be properly implemented, are still allowed. Subdivision 3 specifies what a federal agency needs to access campus. That is, officials with valid identification and a valid warrant. The A3 did add a paragraph here that basically says if they have a reason, then they can be there. Subdivision 4 adds information about giving students information about their constitutional rights, and then subdivision 5 ensures that post-secondary officials, staff, et cetera, do not have liability for actions if they act in good faith. So why do we need this? During President Trump's Metro surge and his stated goal of reckoning and retribution, we saw the U.S. federal government acting outside the bounds of the Constitution. You heard the stories today. You saw the tears today that demonstrated this. And it wasn't just the anecdotes and the stories in the real life that we heard today. It was also on this Monday, March 9th, that Judge Tolstad, a Trump appointee, wrote that ICE and HSI adopted a policy authorizing federal immigration officers to conduct investigatory stops based on ethnicity or race without reasonable suspicion that the individuals were violating immigration laws. He said that ICE and HSI were operating outside the bounds of the Constitution. He observed in a 111-page ruling what we all saw and that we heard today. ICE agents acted unconstitutionally as they stopped people based on race and ethnicity. Why do we need this? Until January 2025, the policy of the Department of Homeland Security, which was what was outlined in this bill. The college campuses, amongst others, are sensitive, essential spaces that ICE and HSI must have judicial warrants, orders, or subpoenas to access. They were not allowed to go to places of worship, social service establishments. ICE could not go to disaster emergency response sites. ICE could not operate at a wedding, funeral, or religious ceremonies. They could not operate at healthcare facilities, places where children gather, like bus stops or daycares. They could not operate at schools under this policy. In January 2025, President Trump rescinded that policy and said that they are fair game. But reportedly, ICE and HSA has reinstated this policy, but we have not yet seen that published. Unfortunately, we need this Minnesota law to say this. We expect ICE and HSI to follow the Fourth Amendment and do it on college campuses. Why on college campuses? Well, we spend committee after committee discussing how our college campuses are job engines and life-giving engines for the state of Minnesota. Our colleges and universities attract students to Minnesota. Our colleges and universities keep high school students in Minnesota. Our colleges and universities are the hub of new technologies and the ideas that drive Minnesota. Our colleges and universities are integral to the success of Minnesota. And as ICE and HSI have shown over and over that they think that the bounds of the United States Constitution do not apply to them. Senate File 3570 reminds them that the Fourth Amendment and the U.S. Constitution that we all swore an oath to are not optional in Minnesota. And so with that, Senator Fate, I believe we have some individuals here to provide additional testimony.
Thank you, Senator Clark. Our first testifier is going to be John Bowler, who is the Policy Counsel with ACLU. Welcome. Please state your name for the record, and you may begin.
Thank you, Chair Fate, members of the committee. My name is John Beeler. I'm the Policy Counsel with the ACLU of Minnesota. We're testifying today in support of SF 3570 as amended. The bill returns us to a policy that was in place for roughly 20 years, prohibiting immigration enforcement at sensitive locations. In 2007, the George W. Bush administration issued a memo to ICE restricting immigration enforcement, quote, at or near schools, other institutions of education, and venues where children and their families may be present. Presidents Obama, Trump, and Biden continued or expanded this policy only for President Trump to revoke the policy on the first day of his second term. As prior DHS officials noted, DHS can accomplish its enforcement mission without denying or limiting individuals access to needed medical care, access to schools, displaced access to food and shelter, people of faith access to places of worship, and more. This policy included colleges, universities, vocational, and trade schools. The federal change by revoking that protected spaces is what necessitates this bill. As Senator Clark referenced, earlier this week we received a decision in the ACLU Minnesota's case, Hussein v. Noem. The court denied our request for a preliminary injunction, but did find that of the 23 declarants and plaintiffs that we brought forward, all 23 were racially profiled in their stops and arrests. Not a single credible defense was offered by the federal government to any of those stops or arrests. Why is this bill not necessary going forward? Because somewhere between 600 and 650 immigration officials remain in Minnesota. That does not include local officials who have been deputized under the 287G program to continue operating in civil immigration enforcement in our state. The clarity on warrants is particularly helpful. On May 1st, 2025, AG Ellison issued guidance, not an opinion, that administrative warrants are not issued by a court and do not allow ICE to enter non-public areas without permission. An organization is not required to allow ICE to enter non-public areas on the basis of this administrative warrant alone. When AG Ellison issued that opinion, that was the understanding of every court and every jurisdiction in this country. It was also believed to be the understanding that DHS was operating under. However, last fall, a whistleblower from DHS leaked an internal memo where ICE and DHS had redefined what an administrative warrant allowed them to do. That is not how the Constitution operates. You cannot change terms in the Constitution by internal executive agency memo. We expect this to be litigated in the courts, but until then, we appreciate the guidance that this bill offers to our universities that a judicial warrant issued by a state or federal judge provides that necessary third-party independent magistrate to review the cause and the places to either be searched or the people to be detained. One last point on this, bill's laws protecting sensitive locations have existed in other states for nearly a decade. Where the federal government is not regulated differently than others, or where the federal government is not regulated at all, these laws stand up to constitutional muster. This bill does not regulate federal activity. It governs the activities of employees of post-secondary institutions, and the restrictions in this bill are placed on those employees. So we urge this committee's support for SF 3570. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony. Next up, we have President Jenna Chernega. Welcome. And we can also call up Andrea Kimlinger also. Oh, who's on Zoom, so never mind. Welcome, President Chernega. Please introduce yourself for the record. You may begin.
Thank you so much. Chair Fata, members of the committee, my name is Jenna Chernega, and I am the president of the IFO. We represent the faculty, coaches, counselors, and librarians across the 7 Minnesota state universities, including Metro State. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today in favor of Senator Clark's legislation. As you know and have heard, the sensitive location protection regarding immigration enforcement activity was a federal provision that had been in regulation for 30 years. Its existence was especially important for public universities and colleges because our campuses are largely public property. That is, unlike private colleges and universities, we cannot ban the public from coming into our parking lots, green spaces, or classroom buildings. The only locations on public university campuses that are deemed private and therefore off limits to the public or to law enforcement without a judicial warrant are residence halls, offices, and classrooms while class is in session. Under the sensitive location protection, immigration agents were not typically supposed to engage in enforcement activities on campus or near campus buildings. This allowed free passage of students, faculty, and staff from one building to another without fear of immigration enforcement activities taking place. When the sensitive location protection was revoked in January of 2025, faculty members in the IFO were acutely aware of what that change meant. Immediately, the tensions and stress on campuses shot up and led to an enormous emotional and workload burden that I testified to in the House a few weeks ago. We had surveyed our faculty in February. I'd found that 94% of faculty reported students expressing extreme stress or safety concerns. 91% of faculty reported the same level of distress amongst their colleagues. And 48% of our surveyed faculty reported a significant increase in workload due to this crisis. They are rewriting curriculum to move classes online, canceling field trips, simply because the risk of encountering ICE enforcement agents is too dangerous. Without the protection, students are at risk when walking from their dorm rooms to their classrooms, from one classroom building to another, when walking to a dining hall to use their meal plan, or walking to their car in the parking lot. Given the apparently high proportion of ICE detentions of legal residents and even U.S. citizens, student fears about ICE activity are not overblown, even if they are legally in the U.S. studying on J visas or other statuses. I truly believe that a sensitive location provision in Minnesota would restore some sense of safety and security on our campuses, even if it would not entirely alleviate fears. The ICE occupation in Minnesota has been incredibly disruptive to higher education, as it has been to almost every sector of our state. This bill would ease that disruption on our campuses and allow students to continue their educations, something which is crucial to Minnesota to ensure we have workers to fill necessary positions in our state.
Thank you so much, President Trnega, for your testimony. Next up, we have Andrea Kimlinger, who's on Zoom.
Hello, my name is Andrea Kimlinger, and I just want to thank you, Chair Fateh, and members of the committee for letting me speak on behalf of SF 3570. So I am currently a nursing student at Hennepin Technical College in Eden Prairie. I'm the Vice President of Student Senate and the Region 4 representative of Leda Men Board of Directors. And I am just writing to and here to share my experience as a college student during ongoing federal immigration enforcement activities in Minnesota, and to voice support of SF 3570, limiting access by federal immigration officers on college campuses. I've been living in Minnesota for many years, and it has always been a state that values support and communities and taking care of people. Within the last month, with the increase in ICE activity all over the state, I've seen a change in many people are now not feeling comfortable or moving freely in their communities or schools. As an advocate and a student, I have seen and heard fellow students state that they are not coming to school, which decreases enrollment and is hard on their education. There has also been increased stress for people wanting to come out of their homes to keep working toward their education, but fearing for their safety if they do. Students are focusing mainly on their own and their families' basic needs, and that is taking priority over school. In school, I have heard from students that they are not comfortable in all areas on campus because they fear for safety. Safety is a basic need. When students don't feel safe on campus, everything else is affected. Feeling safe in school has to come first so students can get their education, to go back into our communities to pursue careers and give back. Being a student leader and an advocate for others, I hear so many fears and uncertainties about what comes next and how our schools would deal with an ICE activity on campus. When we lack protection and when things happen that are not in our control, we as students and advocates just want to be able to continue to live and go to school. And also know that we have real support from the system, our school, and from our larger community and state. SF 3570 shows that support and shows that our experiences as college students are being heard. This bill helps address our fear and uncertainty by giving clear guidelines for all campuses so that every student has the same understanding of what our colleges can and should do to support us. I'm thankful for the time taken by this committee to hear from students about the mental health impacts, the real distributions to schoolwork, and the effect on our campus communities due to federal immigration enforcement activities, and grateful for this bill that helps make sure our campus are places where students can pursue their education and feel safe, valued, and supported. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your testimony.
Yeah.
Next, we have William Luther. Welcome. Introduce yourself for the record, and you may begin.
Yeah, so hi, committee. Again, I'm William Luther. I'm the Director of State Affairs for the undergrad student government at the University of Minnesota Twin Cities. We represent the 30,000 undergraduate students at the university. First, I want to say thank you, Ms. Haddad, for your beautiful testimony today. And, you know, during the winter of Operation Metro Surge, we've heard the same from students. You know, I wish I could bring more to testify today, but the fear is still there. And the fear that we saw on our campus during that winter coming back was something I've never expected to do as a college student, and help those students. So again, you know, coming in, Operation Metro Surge happened and our students returning to class. It was just a lot of fear on campus. Students were very concerned on like one question, basic question. If I go to class or I go back to my dorm room, you know, will my university protect my rights? Senate File 3570 would exactly do that. It would require the university, or request, I guess, the University of Minnesota to put those requirements in that only a judicial warrant for students is required for DHS. And what we saw, I mean, this even happened before Operation Metro Surge. We had a lot of grad students who were swept up even before this on their way to their homes. And this is not something that happened with this surge, that just started with the surge. This is what happened even before that. And so one thing about the bill is clear. It does not tell the university or their officials to obstruct legal immigration enforcement. What it does, basically it protects students' rights. Protects, I mean, the university, especially if you talk about dorm rooms, right? They're the tenant, they're the landlord, right? They should protect their tenants. They should protect their students, no matter if it's in the dorm room, in the classroom, or any building on campus. And all we're asking is that DHS provide a judicial warrant. And I cannot tell you how many stories I've heard. If you tuned into the House committee 2 weeks ago, we heard from a student named Don, and he talked about how his father was taking during the surge, and where going to campus, not only he had to juggle getting legal aid for his father, but also juggling the finances of being a full-time student. And that fear of going on campus and thinking that, you know, I might be next. And hundreds of students on our University of Minnesota campus face that. You saw it at the nearby Augsburg University that those events happened. At Columbia University, we saw immigration enforcement lie to campus officials to get into a residence hall and take a student. These aren't one-off stories, as Senator Kupek said in the House committee earlier today. You know, we've heard some comments from representatives. This is not like a one-off. This is not something that we were whipped up to do to provide this testimony. This is something that's real, comes from the heart. And, you know, I wish those stories were, I wish those people heard those stories and took them to heart. Again, us at the undergrad student government, we support Senate File 3570. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Luther, so much for testifying and sharing that story. Lastly, we have Julia Covert. Welcome. Please state your name for the record and you may begin.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Committee. My name is Julia Covert. I am a student at the University of Minnesota Duluth. I study policy and sociology. I'm here to speak in support of Senate File 3570 because all students deserve safety and security regardless of where they were born, where they're from, or what legal documents they do or do not possess. Operation Metro Surge made Minnesota residents, including many of our students, afraid to leave their homes out of fear of being arrested, detained, deported, or otherwise harmed by ICE agents. In Noam v. Vasquez Perdomo this past September, the Supreme Court ruled that immigration officers could stop anyone they assumed to be here illegally. This can be because of apparent race, ability to speak English, the location they were found at, and the job they work. From the testimonies we've heard today, it is so much worse than what a lot of us think. I have no words. It is so terrible when the places we live become places where immigration enforcement can happen without legal safeguards. That fear will inevitably follow students into our classrooms and discourage them from coming to campus or even enrolling at all. And it has, and it will continue to. I also think it's important to acknowledge that there was a time where we had protections in place, and as of, I think it was January 2025, those protections were rescinded. If there's anything I've learned from my sociological studies, it's that higher education is one of the most significant pathways for upward social mobility. It can determine income level, access to jobs, future civic participation, long-term financial stability, and so much more. These benefits extend across generations, and because higher education plays such a big role in opportunity and mobility, the environments where it takes place need to be safe, inclusive places for belonging. As you all probably know, Minnesota ranks among the top states in the country for higher education, with about 40% of us over age 25 having a bachelor's degree or higher. But we also have a 23 percentage point racial gap in college attainment. We should be working to close that gap, which is yet another reason why this bill should be a priority. On Tuesday, I attended the Higher Education Finance and Policy meeting, and Representative Liebling said something that really stuck with me. While the committee debated whether or not to allow undocumented students state financial aid, she said that providing it wasn't even really a private benefit. It was more of a public benefit. Because having more educated people in Minnesota is a benefit in itself. She said that education is a public good. And as members of the Senate Higher Education Committee, you have a duty to uphold that public good, and that includes advancing legislation like Senate File 3570 that protects the security and dignity of all students in this state. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for sharing your story and testifying. And that wraps up the last testifier. Are there any questions or comments from committee members? Senator Umuverbain.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Senator Clark, for bringing forward the bill. I think it's so important that our campuses are treated as these essential spaces, and we heard about that from our students and faculty and administrators today. I had one comment, which is that I did really want to thank Mr. Beeler for being here, from the ACLU and the form that the ACLU put out really in response to Operation Metro Surge, so we could collect those stories and document all of the violations from these federal agents. So thank you for that work. There's also a form that our Attorney General has out as well, and it's just important for us to document this. I know the amendment that we adopted just clarifies that the Board of Regents at the University of Minnesota is requested to comply with the section. Were you able to have conversations with them about what their existing policies were, and if they're supportive of this language? Just a unique system.
Senator Clark.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator Verbatim. I won't fully speak for them, but they, the policies that I continue to encourage them to have align with this, and they do largely have. I think there's, always in a massive system, how do you make sure that everybody is educated on this? And I think that's part of why this bill is important. It provides education for students, and if we're educating students, that likely means that staff and faculty know as well. So I have confidence that that they are adhering to these policies largely already, but I won't fully speak for them, whether it is, it's never 100% certain, but they are, I'd say, aligned, if not fully aligned.
Senator Verbatim.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Thanks, Senator Clark. They'll definitely get our request, so.
Yes, they will.
And I totally agree. I think of what you have outlined and the information that needs to be shared with students at registration is really key. So thank you.
I think your response moved her from on the fence to a yes vote, so congratulations, Dora.
Good.
Is Putnam next or Kupek? Oh, Senator Putnam.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Clark, for this bill. I have a question. Section 3, Subdivision 3, and this is partially, I guess, a compliment to the line of inquiry established by Senator Verbatim just moments ago. It reads, except as required by FADER, I think we changed that part, but it says, an official staff member or other employee of a post-secondary institution must not allow a federal immigration officer to enter the institution's campus for any purpose, et cetera. My concern, and I absolutely 100% support the bill, but my concern is for staff and people who might be put in positions where they are expected to intercede in that space. And I'm wondering if, as we think about the bill and we keep working on it a little bit, we might put in a little bit more specific language there so that not every staff member would be put in a position where they should have to intercede, where they must intercede with the presence of ICE. I'm not sure how you feel about that, Senator Clark, but it's a concern I might have for the staff at these various institutions.
I appreciate that, but before Senator Clark responds, that's a concern, I think, with a couple other bills that's been popping up in HHS and Human Services, and I think the word must is more instructive and not punitive, and I think that was the goal of the legislation. But I'll let Senator Clark also speak, or if that covers it, whatever's best.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Senator Putnam. That's line 5.21. Sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, Chair Fate. Thank you, Senator Putnam. Great advice, and it's in part why we added in liability limited in the new subdivision 5. But I think, as you note, Chair Fate, that is we do not want to be putting staff, faculty, students in danger, and we have seen how ICE puts people in danger. So I think it is a great caution and great recommendation to figure out a better solution. Fortunately, we head on to judiciary, and this space is a little bit in the judiciary space as well. So this is not the final stop. If we make changes that need to come back to higher ed, obviously we will. So I will take that as note and recommendation. But again, it's, we would not be in this space if it was not for the extrajudicial ways in which HSI and ICE continually act, whether by design or neglect or lack of training. We should not be putting our students, our staff in this space.
Thank you so much, Senator Clark. Are there any final questions, comments, concerns? Senator Clark, would you like to move the bill?
Chair Fate, I move the bill.
Awesome. Senator Clark moves that SF 3570 as amended be recommended to pass and re-refer to the Committee on Judiciary and Public Safety. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The bill is passed, and with that, we are now adjourned.